When I saw Project Power a few weeks ago, I was blown away by Dominique Fishback, and I wanted to see more with her. Who knew that Netflix would release something starring her so quickly? Night Comes On is from 2018, and they just added it to the roster. A young woman is released from juvenile detention and goes on a journey with her 10-year-old sister that could end up destroying her future. As I mentioned, Dominique Fishback stars in this, and she's playing Angel, and she is a girl who's about to turn 18. She's just had a tough go of things, and she is now just being released from juvenile detention. There's a bunch of trauma in her past, and she didn't really have a support system, so she's basically trying to figure out life. She's also just hell-bent on rectifying a wrong that was done to her and her sister. Fishback as Angel is great. She's raw and damaged and plays the character just so well. There's this quiet desperation, but there's also some strength. I mean, you see how she is barely holding it together at times. As much as I enjoyed her performance, there is a scene stealer in this movie. Tatum Marilyn Hall plays Angel's 10-year-old sister, Abby. This kid has charisma and charm, and at times a mouth. She is fun to watch though, and she works so well with Fishback. I mean, together they make this convincing sister duo. They're sharing grief, sometimes laughter, sometimes heartache and hurt. The film is short. It's only 86 minutes long, and I honestly could have used a little bit more on Angel and Abby's story and their connection. But really what we get is kind of a road trip movie, and that's almost dismissive to call it a road trip movie because it's not. I mean, it is a journey, and part of that is self-discovery. And through that, there is also Angel's, her ultimate goal, which could really be disastrous for her. There is some great family drama in this, but I would have liked to have seen it go deeper. There is this seething to Angel that needs to be satisfied. I'm not really sure that the resolution gives justice to that need. But I've got to say, seeing Angel take control of her situation and her circumstances, that is pretty satisfying. This movie does play out a little bit like a day in the life of. I mean, we spend a couple of days with Angel and ultimately Abby, and so we get to see them on this journey. And that's pretty much it. There's not a ton of action. We see Angel struggle, and thankfully we get some really good conversations along the way. So if this movie was just about two characters who go on a journey and they have some conversations, that'd be pretty much a waste of time. Thankfully, there's a lot more to this. I love that we get to see some good character growth from Angel, and ultimately that's what makes this a good film. I mean, it's us watching the progression of her character, how she decides to really take charge of her situation and work and struggle through her choices. Like I said, we do get to watch conversations between Angel and Abby, and those can be powerful. The words that they share, the moments that they're having together, the words actually that they're using and what they're conveying in their meaning, I enjoyed that because it really, I mean, it showed the deeper parts of their character. And that's where you really get to see some of the growth, because Angel and Abby have to have this connection and they have to work together and they have to just connect on a level so that it's convincing to us. And then through all of their dialogue, that's where we get to watch some things change, just in the mindset even. And we don't always agree with some of the decisions that are being made. I mean, some of it is just like, oh, no, stop, or I really wish you wouldn't do that, or gosh, that's kind of sad when you do that. It also adds a little bit of realism to it as we watch the struggle. The movie really is simple in its concept, but it's great in its execution. There are parts of certain scenes that feel kind of rushed or just ended, and it was like, why exactly was that in there? Was that just a time filler? Because there wasn't much that was said or done in this other than to just see some character interactions, and some of that was okay, but I didn't feel like it ultimately led someplace. Like Angel and Abby encounter a group of people, and not much happens with that. And I do think that the film had the opportunity to go deeper into one of the relationships in particular, and I think it would have made it even more of a stronger film. But even without that, it's still a good watch. There's no sex or nudity, but there is some disgusting sexual behavior from one of the minor characters. There's a lot of profanity and not really any violence. I give Night Comes On 3.5 out of 5 couches. What's a good family relationship drama that you've seen recently? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to be doing an Ask Me Anything type video in the coming weeks, so if you want to ask me a question, if you want to submit one of those for me to answer, you can find out more about me, more about the channel, more about whatever you want. I mean, truly, you can ask me anything. I put a link to a Google form for all the questions in the description below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.